The man who became the voice of a generation didn't even use his real name. That a kid from rural Minnesota with no formal music training would go on to alter the course of popular music, not once, not twice, but several times over. This is the story of Bob Dylan, and it's unlike anything you've heard before. 1941, Duluth, Minnesota. Robert Allen Zimmerman is born into a middle-class Jewish family, far from the bright lights of any music scene. As a teenager, he starts writing songs, almost obsessively. He gives college a brief try, but his mind is elsewhere. His heart is in the music. And so he starts performing at local coffee houses under a new name, Bob Dylan.
Is unafraid to turn on a dime, follow the music and the sound that's in his.
Taken from the Welsh poet Dylan Thomas. A new name, a new identity, a new beginning. In 1961, at just 19 years old, Dylan packs up and heads to New York City's Greenwich Village. And almost immediately, people notice. The village folk scene was alive in those days. Packed coffee houses, passionate crowds, artists hungry for something real. Dylan gave them something real. By 1964, two of his songs had stopped being just songs. Blowin' in the Wind, The Times They Are A-Changin'. They had become anthems.
Listen to me, baby, there's something you must see.
Battle cries for the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, an entire generation searching for a voice. And Bob Dylan became that voice. He showed the world that pop music wasn't just entertainment. It could carry weight. It could move people. It could change things. The Beatles cited him as an influence. Jimi Hendrix covered his songs. He wasn't just part of the scene. He was the scene. Then came 1965, Newport Folk Festival. Dylan walked on stage and plugged in. Electric guitar, full band, rock and roll. The crowd went nuclear. They booed him, screamed at him, felt betrayed. But Dylan didn't flinch, because he was already hearing something new in his head, and he was going to follow it no matter what. That same year, he released Like a Rolling Stone. 6 minutes long, dense, poetic, relentless. It became his first major pop hit and one of the greatest rock songs ever recorded. The folk purists may have turned their backs, but the rest of the world was just waking up. The mid-60s were Dylan at his absolute best. Highway 61 Revisited, Blonde on Blonde, masterpieces, both of them. Critics obsessed over his lyrics. Fans analyzed every line, every metaphor, every word, desperately trying to get inside his head. But Dylan gave nothing away. In interviews, he was elusive, cryptic, almost theatrical in his refusal to explain himself. He didn't owe anyone an explanation, because as one music critic put it, he brought a sophistication, a literacy, a sense of poetry to popular songwriting that has no precedent. None, before or since. In 1966, a motorcycle accident near his Woodstock home forced Dylan off the road. He disappeared from public life, and in that quiet retreat, something unexpected happened. He began recording new material in a basement, informal, raw, experimental, with his backing group, the Hawks, who would later become legendary in their own right as simply the band. Those recordings, known as the basement tapes, became some of the most influential music never officially released in their time. Even in hiding, Dylan was ahead of everyone else. The 70s brought a new chapter. He hit the road again, harder than before. And in 1975, he released Blood on the Tracks, raw, emotionally devastating, and widely considered one of the greatest albums in the history of recorded music. Then, in 1978, Dylan surprised the world again. He declared himself a born-again Christian, once again unpredictable, once again his own man. The 80s brought commercial struggles, critical disappointments, a period where even his most loyal fans wondered if the magic had faded. But Dylan had one more trick up his sleeve. He joined forces with Jeff Lynne, Jairus Harrison, Roy Orbison, and Tom Petty, forming the supergroup The Traveling Wilburys. The result? A massive commercial and critical success that reminded the world exactly who Bob Dylan was. The honors came, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Kennedy Honors, and still he refused to stop. In 2006, his album Modern Times debuted at #1, making him the oldest living artist to achieve that at the time. Martin Scorsese directed a Peabody Award-winning documentary about his early years, No Direction Home. And in 2016, something happened that had never happened before in the history of literature. Bob Dylan was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. A songwriter, a folk singer from Minnesota, honored alongside the greatest writers the world has ever known. Because that's what he always was, not just a musician,
That
poet.
you could tackle significant social issues in a serious way and unify people around.
Robert Zimmerman became Bob Dylan, a kid with a guitar and a borrowed name who went on to alter the course of popular culture multiple times over. He was booed, he was doubted, he was misunderstood, and every single time he proved everyone wrong. Because the one thing Bob Dylan never did was follow anyone else's rules. And that, more than any album, any award, any chart position, is his greatest legacy. If this story hit different, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow and reach more people who love stories like this. Subscribe to Untold Biography, because every week we go deep on the lives of legends, the struggles, the turning points, the moments history almost forgot. And drop a comment below. What's your favorite Bob Dylan song or album? We read every single one. See you in the next one.